Prepare yourself for this one. We've been talking about how MAGA has escalated, has become even more severe in its rhetoric post-verdict. The language I've been using is snapped, as Biden describes Trump's brain, something in his brain, snapping after January 6th. I think we'll mark down the verdict as the next time we saw that transformation of the ideology, of the rhetoric, and intentions into something even more severe and dangerous. And specifically, revenge. Revenge is the name of the game, the word that we're hearing from many of these MAGA Republicans about what they want to see in the wake of Trump's verdict. Instead of understanding that no evidence, as you've heard me say so many times, has been brought forward to substantiate the idea that this is some Democratic plot to take Trump down. And that comes in stark contrast to the mountain of evidence of Trump's criminal wrongdoing. And them understanding that maybe that's just legal accountability. Instead, they have to run with the narrative that this is all a witch hunt, somehow coordinated by Biden, the guy who doesn't know where he is, who also coordinated the greatest conspiracy to steal elections, also coordinating the greatest conspiracy to take down a political opponent. And this is prompting them to make some pretty insane claims, like one that caused right-wing activist, I guess she's described as, and political commentator Laura Loomer, who I had a debate with. I'll play a clip of that a little bit later. That was from some time ago. But she called for the death penalty for Democrats, certain Democrats. And I'll play you the clip that caused the Tim Pool show, they were live streaming, to cut off their stream altogether because she said this, and that can get you flagged on YouTube. And because of that, I will bleep out when she says that exact phrase. But first, here's some reporting. Donald Trump's allies in recent days have called for revenge prosecutions and other retaliatory measures against Democrats in response to the former president's felony conviction in New York. Prominent former White House aides like Stephen Bannon, who is headed to prison, and Stephen Miller have demanded locally elected Republicans use the power to target Democrats. Ronnie Jackson, a House representative from Texas, said he would encourage Congress to aggressively go after President Biden and his family. And Laura Loomer, a far-right activist, said that some Democrats should, quote, get the death penalty. Insane stuff. Now, here's the moment in its full context. 1 minute. And Tim Pool is saying deranged things too. And then Laura Loomer goes, hold my beer. Here's what I have to say. And it's even crazier.
I'll put it this way. Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. Yeah. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI. Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove. Yeah. And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show the whole world we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail. They should get the, we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
And it was cut off. And goodness gracious. Now, again, Tim Pool's trying to frame it as, no, just do justified prosecution because we have the crimes. Now, he nicely forgets to name exactly what those crimes would be, but I'm sure if he even named them, they would be rather baseless, like the Biden crime family, those conspiracy theories. But what we're seeing is this MAGA movement just cannot fathom that the dear leader, Donald Trump, could have gotten himself into legal trouble. And I say again, what's the point? What's the point of going around and saying for decades that you believe no one's above the law if the second that's really tested and your ideology is really challenged, because when someone you like gets in legal trouble, that's when you need to prove that you stand for this principle, you absolutely abandon it. Okay, you never stood for it then. It was just a nice thing to say. Occasionally they would throw in, we're law and order in times of wanting to avoid certain police accountability when that was a conversation. But they didn't actually mean meaningful law and order, which we are for. And that's what we're seeing play out here with Trump, as you've heard me say so many times. Now, while we're on the subject of Laura Loomer, she has a show. Let's check in on what else she's been up to other than saying Democrats should get the death penalty. She has a show called Loomer Unleashed, which, what was she before, if now on this platform she's really off the rails? Goodness. And here I'll just give you some perspective into someone apparently out there, an audience, is choosing to tune in to Loomer Unleashed to get their information. Oh gosh.
You see, this speaks to the tendency of the Republican Party as it stands now, which is to never seize on important moments and go on the offense. In fact, the GOP seems incapable of ever going on the offense. I don't know. I think they have some genetic malfunction or who knows, some kind of predisposition that when you get elected to Congress as a Republican, you are just incapable of going on offense.
Come closer. Okay. Every single week, millions of people watch the show who aren't subscribed to it. YouTube metrics tells us. That's crazy town. So it breaks my heart if I think too long about it. If you're a regular viewer and you do like the show, makes a huge difference just to click that subscribe button and help us continue to grow.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with these people, but they just don't know how to go on offense. I don't even know if the word offense exists in their vernacular. The Trump conviction stands as one of the most egregious examples of political persecution in the history of this nation. Yet,
oh gosh, it's so dramatic. I honestly have a hard time remembering that this is real. People are buying in full steam ahead in this. And by the way, she's really upset with Republicans for not going on offense. If offense to her is the death penalty for Democrats, then we don't. That's crazy to be hoping for an offensive stance from Republicans. They seem on the offense enough, and their offense is doing things that are so often wrong. And as a reminder, Laura Loomer is not just some rando person out there with a podcast. She is actually an ally of Donald Trump.
Hey everybody, we're here at Bedminster. I'm with the greatest president ever, President Donald Trump, who is
Lincoln, Washington, FDR, etc. Get out of here. We got Donald Trump.
Hey everybody, we're here at Bedminster. I'm with the greatest president ever, President Donald Trump, who is killing it right now. There's a new poll out, right? You're crushing it. You're up over 50 points. And it's a beautiful day here. Beautiful club. It's my first time here at Bedminster.
Well, it's great to have you, and you've been really very special. You work hard, and you are a very opinionated lady. I have to tell you that, and in my opinion, I like that.
Well, I appreciate that.
all of your support, and you've been terrific, and everybody appreciates you. So
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to sit with you today. It's a pleasure. You're the best. I love you.
You're a pretty opinionated lady, but I guess since you're doing that for me, I'm okay with it. But pretty dang crazy. She's a little crazy even for Trump. I never want to go up to someone that I'm having a meal with and just film a shot holding up the camera and just looking at them. I love you. This is just a moment between us. There's a camera there, I know. But you're something special. I love you. And you invited me to sit here. Say that for the friends. You invited me. I didn't come and harass you. You invited me. We're best friends. Awkward. Also, she did this thing. I missed it while we were preparing for the segment. I forgot to grab this, but I guess she posts when she goes and confronts someone that they got loomered. Loomered. The verb. And I find that interesting too. You just got Beasley'd. Nailed it. Now, as a reminder, I did have a conversation with her some time ago. It was a while ago. I didn't have my incredible team who's in the room right now doing great work. And so things didn't look quite the same. So don't judge. Oh, Luke, you look different. Okay. Oh, the camera wasn't as nice. Okay. Just absorb the content of it. Here's a little bit of my conversation with Laura Loomer.
You either care about upholding the Constitution, you either care about law and order, you either care about, keeping your way of life as an American, right, and upholding and enforcing American values, or you believe in lawlessness and the complete shredding of our United States Constitution, which is what Joe Biden represents. And so,
Donald Trump, you agree, though, he did post on Truth Social that he was supportive of terminating the Constitution?
No.
Can I read the message to you?
You can read it. Go ahead.
So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type of magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Well, I think that President Trump, as I just said, is trying to highlight the fact that we have a constitutional crisis in our country.
So terminate it? Come on.
No, I think that he's trying to show the absurdity of the fact that our constitutional rights and our liberties are not being upheld. They're being completely bastardized and defiled by widespread election fraud.
When people say that MAGA is a cult because they just support everything Trump says no matter what, it's moments like this where it's right there on the page or on the screen. Terminate all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. And then that's actually him saying, let's strengthen the Constitution.
No, because he's talking about the fact that we have this evidence, right, that laws have been violated and people's rights have been violated and nothing's been done about it. Our Constitution has already been shredded.
So crazy stuff. And she's only become more unhinged from there. And now saying what you, I guess, didn't hear, but heard me describe. And it's so crazy that Tim Pool has to cut her off. And this is what we're seeing out in MAGA. And so my message to MAGA is, bring it down, bring the heat down, because you're not correct on your premise. So your conclusion being as deranged as it is really uncalled for. And we can have a more united future. Let's talk about healthcare policy. Let's talk about how we increase people's wages. Let's talk about how we make sure the planet is livable for our kids and grandkids, not to mention having cheaper forms of energy for them. Let's address poverty, food insecurity, etc. And we can disagree on how we address these issues, but let's get back to talking about that. Do you know what's preventing us from doing that and making this all feel so existential? You. The problem is you. Wait, what's the phrase? It's not you, it's me. You know how people say that? It's not me, it's you. And so if you could stop putting Trump above the Constitution, our democracy, our justice system. Again, I'm fine disagreeing, but then we can start uniting more, and we can have those fair disagreements, and we can get past this, because I'm loomered out, okay? I want no more unleashed Laura Loomer and unleashed MAGA. You need to get leashed. That doesn't sound right. Let me know what you thought of that segment. We try to bring lightheartedness into the darkness because this is serious. And if you want to support, by the way, the work that this show is doing, speaking of the team that I mentioned, you can do so by clicking the join button below.